Vicky.
I'm coming. I told you I was gonna take you 3 minutes.
All right, Lee, we're ready to get on the road. Board members, you have before you proposed rezoning application RZ 2025-03, filed as ordinance 2503. An ordinance rezoning approximately 0.255 acres on parcel 8259-000 located on First Street near the intersection with Mill Street, owned by Cynethia Williams as described herein, from residential single-family RSF to residential mixed single-family mobile home RSF/MH-2, as defined and classified under the zoning code, pursuant to the land development regulations as amended, providing a disclaimer that the rezoning granted herein shall not be construed as an exemption from any other applicable laws, providing an effective date. Mr. Garrett, can you please present the staff analysis of the application for parcel 8259-000 and proposed ordinance number 2025-03?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name is William Garrett, EA Consultants, Incorporated, and consultant to the town planning services. You entered the property information. I would just add that the existing use of the property, well, there's a mobile home on the property. It's considered to be a vacant lot, though. Again, the size is a quarter acre, which we meet with the RSFMH classification. Surrounding land use is predominantly residential, single-family, conventional. Surrounding land uses on the north and west is vacant property. On the south, single-family, conventional. On the east, across the street is a church and 2 mobile homes. I'd like to put into the record this staff report and also pictures on the next page showing the adjacent properties. Again, for the board's purposes, I'd like to go through the findings, and I will try to be a little quicker than I was last time, and try to be safe. The first finding is whether the proposed change would be in conformance with the town's comprehensive plan and would have an adverse effect on the town's comprehensive plan. As I said before, there's there's a policy in the future land use element that includes mobile homes into the residential category. And so it is consistent with policy 112 of the comprehensive plan. Also in the housing element of the comprehensive plan, objective 3.3 states the town should make available the provision for site opportunities for low-water income housing and mobile homes in conformance with future land use element. Now that answers the consistency of the comprehensive plan. As far as the next finding would be the existing land use pattern, and the surrounding property is primarily residential, a mix of single-family homes, mobile homes. Although the RSF zoning dominates, several mobile homes exist nearby, including 2 located on block immediately east of the subject property, indicating an established pattern of mixed housing types in the same comprehensive plan future land use category. The proposed zoning would allow a mix of single-family and mobile home residential use types that is consistent in form, scale, and density with the existing development pattern. The next finding is possible creation of an isolated district unrelated to the adjacent nearby districts. This change will not create an isolated incompatible district. Well, there are no RSFMH2 zoning districts immediately on adjacent parcels. The proposal does not constitute a legal or arbitrary spot zone. The RSFMH2 district permits similar residential uses and density as the current zoning that exists, including single-family and mobile home units. The rezoning is in harmony with surrounding residential development, which includes a mix of residential types. proposed zoning is supported by the residential moderate density future land designation that I mentioned in the former findings. The population density pattern and possible increase or overtaxing of load on public facilities. The rezoning would not increase the permitted residential density. And that's permitted within the comprehensive plan. No increase in density is proposed. The lot will remain limited to one single-family residential unit and will not result in overtaxing utilities, schools, streets, and other public services. Finding number 5 is whether the existing district boundaries are logically aligned in relation to the existing conditions on the property for the proposed change. Now, again, the current zoning boundaries are not illogical. However, the request responds to evolving housing needs and allows an otherwise compatible housing type in a location already designated for residential moderate density development in the comprehensive plan. Although the RSFMH2 district is not present on adjacent properties, the use remains residential in nature and logically consistent with the surrounding development in terms of density, form, and use. Finding number 6, whether change or changing conditions make the passage of proposed amendment necessary. Now, the comprehensive plan supports a range of housing types, including mobile homes, to serve all income levels and ages. Overall economic and demographic trends suggest an increased demand for affordable and flexible housing alternatives. This rezoning reflects broader housing trends and provides a need to accommodate evolving community housing needs. Finding number 7, whether the proposed change will adversely influence living conditions in the neighborhood. The use of the property will remain residential in nature. Mobile homes on individual lots are already present in the vicinity, and the proposed rezoning is not expected to have a negative effect on neighborhood living conditions. Finding number 8, whether the proposed change will create or excessively increase traffic congestion or otherwise affect public safety. There's no increased traffic from public safety impacts anticipated for the rezoning. It will not increase permitted residential density, and the lot is going to remain limited to one single-family residential unit, and therefore will not generate any additional traffic to the existing district. Finding number 9, whether the proposed change will create a drainage problem. The rezoning will not increase the impervious area and associated stormwater runoff. There's no net change between the existing and proposed zoning. In addition, no known drainage problems exist and none are anticipated as a result of the rezoning. Finding number 10, whether the proposed change will seriously reduce light and air to adjacent areas. The change in zoning will not reduce light or air to adjacent properties. The RSFMH2 zoning district maintains the existing residential character of the area and has similar lot coverage, height, and setback standards to the RSF district. Finding number 11, whether the proposed change will adversely affect property values in the adjacent area. No negative effect on adjacent property values is expected. Excuse me. Mobile homes are already established in the area and coexist with site-built homes. There is not anticipated another decline in property conditions. Finding number 12, whether the proposed change will be a deterrent to the improvement or development of adjacent property in accord with existing regulations. The proposed zoning will not deter the continued development or improvement of surrounding properties. The property will continue to allow residential uses that is compatible with the land use pattern in the area. Finding number 13, whether the proposed change will constitute a grant of special privilege to an individual owner as contrasted with public welfare. The rezoning is not a grant of special privilege. It aligns with the comprehensive plan future land use designation on the property and will not affect public welfare. Finding number 14, whether there are substantial reasons why the property cannot be used in accord with existing zoning. While the property could be developed under the current zoning, the applicant seeks to place mobile home, which is reasonable and permitted under the residential moderate density future land use designation that is assigned to the property. The existing zoning appears to restrict this housing type without strong justification, especially given local housing needs and the company's plan language that states that the town shall permit residential uses including mobile homes. Finding number 15, whether the change is suggested to be out of scale with the needs of the neighborhood or the town. The change is modest in scope and is not out of scale with the needs of the town. It facilitates the placement of one additional mobile home on an established residential lot in an area that already includes similar housing types. And finally, finding number 16, whether it is impossible to find other adequate sites in the town for proposed uses in districts which already permit such use. Now, while other RFH2 parcels may exist elsewhere in the town, this parcel is suitable due to its location, infrastructure, and compatibility with the surrounding development. Requiring relocation to another property would place unnecessary burden on the applicant without clear public benefit. And put those findings into the record. We'll answer any questions you might have.
Do any board members have questions for Mr. Garrett?
Just for clarification, because I want to make sure I have these 2 points understood. It has no adverse, the property, it does not make the property value go down, correct?
It should not because of the adjacent uses of similar units.
Exactly, and there are mobile homes directly in the immediate vicinity of this property.
Across the street.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Cheryl?
Why do we designate single family versus mobile home in the first place? And why was it originally done that way and now it's not?
Well, it's always been a provision of the land development regulations. The concept is to apply RSFMH as a mixed use and where it's appropriate to locate that mixed use. So it's a lot like the CN category. CN category is applied where it's needed. And so, but as far as it's always been in effect, the comprehensive plan has always recognized both conventional and mobile homes as an appropriate use of the modern density residential.
Then why differentiate?
What's that?
Why differentiate then? Why not just always do it no matter what?
Because you want to make sure it's appropriate for the neighborhood.
When would it not be appropriate?
It would not be appropriate if you didn't have so many uses within the neighborhood. And if you had sufficient moderate housing, low moderate income housing within the neighborhood. So, affordable housing, so with those two features that are addressed in the comprehensive plan, you determine as the planning and zoning board tonight and the future as the town council whether or not this is appropriate.
Thank you.
Okay?
Do any other board members have questions for Mr. Garrett? Thank you, Mr. Garrett. We will now hear the applicant's presentation if they desire to do so.
My name is Cynethia Williams. I live at 16974 Sunrise Drive, Hot Springs, Florida. I'm going to show you around. I reside there temporarily, hopefully. Dear council members, this will serve as a formal request to initiate the rezoning process for the property listed above, which is partial 8259-000. I received the home permit and was not aware that there was any issue with the zoning of the land until my third and final request for inspection. This entire process has been very costly. Example, clearing the land cost me quite a bit of money and 26 loads of dirt to be able to even put the home there. Purchasing and moving the mobile home, water, sewer connection, permits, costs, and labor costs. In the short time that the mobile home has been placed there, we become quite acquainted with the Church of God and the surrounding neighbors. My home does not have a negative visual impact on the neighborhood. The home is an up-to-date 2020 home in excellent condition. Also, there are several surrounding mobile homes in the area within foot of my front door. I believe rezoning my property would more accurately reflect both the existing use and the surrounding neighborhood. Upon completion of the rezoning process, the potential benefit of rezoning would be additional water revenues and increase in tax revenues for the town. We respectfully ask the council member to grant this rezoning request. I'm not going to go through each one of the 16 questions. I'm just going to highlight on some of those. The home is used for, going to be a single family home. It would be my daughter and her 3 kids. When we did the permit, we thought correctly, submitted it, along with the complete package, not just one form. We submitted everything to Hamilton County. I had to go to the courthouse and purchase the home and purchase the information before I could even go to the building department. So everything we thought we did correctly, which I'm still thinking it was correctly done. The zoning of the home or whatever, maybe we misunderstood that, but we did what we thought was correct. I wouldn't put out that kind of money to purchase a home, place a home there, and subject to losing the availability of having a home. Placing my home on that street is going to enhance the street. I will not, and I do not plan to have a SOI home. I do not have one now, and neither do I plan to have that one be a SOI. I plan to upkeep the house and make sure it is maintained well. It will not increase traffic of any sort. It will not reduce the lighting or air. In fact, the mobile home is going to cost me, my taxes on that mobile home is going to be so high right now. Because from my understanding from the tax department is that mobile home taxes are increasing and the value of the mobile home is increasing. So with all that being said, I don't think I have anything else to say because we're just asking the council to grant us this rezoning. You have anything to say? And we would like to thank you in advance for your time and consideration.
Do any of the board members have questions for the applicant?
Not at this time. No, I don't.
I do.
Okay.
As far as the zoning goes, you had no clue that you were moving into a single family versus a mobile home?
No, Cheryl, I did not, because we pulled a partial of the homes in that area, and the home said single family, but in the description box, it said mobile homes.
Okay, and fact that the clerk sent in your stuff and she had no authority to do that.
No, the clerk, if you look at that form, the form says town manager or clerk can sign off on it. And in fact, the previous town manager has not signed off on any form. It has always been Miss Audrey, the town clerk. Miss Vanessa has never signed off on not one.
So where did you get the residential single-family mobile home designation that you put on your application to the permit? Did Audrey tell you that, or?
We spoke to Audrey, and also we pulled up information, and that's how we, the description of what the home was going to be was put on the application.
So when you submitted it to Jasper, it said that you wanted to put a mobile home there?
Yes, ma'am. We gave Jasper the whole entire package. We did not just submit the one form. The whole entire package had to go there. And in fact, they would not do anything with it without having everything in the package.
And where did you pull the information from, you said?
From the partial, on our partial.
So is that the county appraiser's website?
Mhm.
Do we have any more questions from the board?
Not at this time.
Thank you. The next step in the quasi-judicial hearing is the opportunity for public comment. The opportunity to cross-examine any witness will be provided to those who are legally deemed to be interested parties with standing. This is limited to those who either are making a procedural challenge or a substantive challenge who can prove a special injury differing in kind rather than degree from the general community. So we will start with Vivian Williamson.
Yes. I'm Vivian Williamson. I live at 12108 3rd Street, Hot Springs.
Can you confirm that you were sworn in?
Yes, I was. I want to say I'm the secretary of the White Springs Church of God, where she's going to have her trailer at across the street there. And we don't have no problems with her having that trailer there. To us, it's a uplift according to the SORI we got across the road there too. So we don't have no problems with her, living over there. And so I just wanted to say, my pastor did write y'all a letter. I think y'all got it from the White Springs Church of God. But anyway, there is several trailers on that road. And I couldn't understand why anybody would have a problem with a trailer sitting there, but like I said, we're all for them to have that trailer there. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Next is Scott Gay.
See if you may just stand for a moment. Scott Gay, 10565 Kendrick Street, Hot Springs. This application is a microcosm of the circumstances that we have had here for 5 years, lack of accountability and transparency. We've been governed out of the sunshine for 5 years. Well, we should not even be here tonight for this application. I want to address I'll do this first. We shouldn't be here tonight because the application, because of resolution 07-3, which you fixed tonight. I'd like to submit this as evidence. It says, until the following applicable fees and charges have been paid in full, no action of any type or kind shall be taken on a petition, appeal, or application. So I'd like to submit resolution 07-1 through. Secondly, we should not be here tonight because the application that was submitted is not the starting point for what is on the site right now. That process starts with an application for site and development plan approval by the Town of White Springs Planning and Zoning Board off the town website with a revision date of 5/29/20. So I'd like to submit this this document as part of the record. This is the initial site plan where this process would have started and everybody would have been informed, or the applicant would have been informed that this is not the proper zoning. If she would not have gone out and purchased a trailer and lived there, this would have told her, stop, wait, this property is not zoned for what you're trying to do. So she would not be in the situation she is in now with having an illegal structure in place with the fraudulent permit. So I'd like to submit this to, as part of the record, to pass this around. That's off the town website. It's not there today, but it's been there in the past. I'd like to address the application that was submitted to the town. The process is you submit the application to the town. The town is supposed to review it for sufficiency, and then they forward it to the county. But a mobile home permit application was submitted. The cart before the horse, because the document I just gave you should have been first. But since we're here to talk about this application, I'm going to address the application that was submitted. On the second page, it says signature of land use administrator. That's signed by Auditor Williams. There is nothing in the record. The Town of White Springs has ever acknowledged Auditor Williams or the town clerk to be the land use administrator. So this form does not have the proper authorization. On that form, this is page 2 of the mobile home permit application. There's 6 items on the back. One of them says show the width and length of the home on the property. That is not shown. It says 15 to 20 feet. The site plan is supposed to show specifically the size of the lot and the structure on it. This does not meet the standard for review by any planning official. There's no survey, so we do not know right now whether the proper side yards, front and rear yards are there or not. No survey. And the structures are on. The application that was submitted, and this is a problem that you're going to find that's happened multiple times. The process with Hamilton County and the municipalities in Hamilton County is this. There's a 4-page form that is submitted that is completed by the town. The only page that was submitted to this application is labeled page 4, approval for construction within the city limits of White Springs. That's page 4. There's nowhere in your application where it's page 1, 2, and 3 with a 4-page application. In fact, on page 4, it says refer to page 3 and page 1, line 22. So this is an incomplete form. This is the town saying, telling the county, this project complies with all our language that's on the rules, and we're signing off on this permit for you to do the next level review of the county for the building. So page 4 refers to page 1 and 2, and they're not attached as part of the application. That's a problem, not just in this case, that's a problem with the whole county permitting process. The town administration, I guess the town administration will be the town manager, the town clerk. They failed in their duty with the applicant because they knew that they should have consulted with the planning official, Mr. Clay Sweeter, who the town has engaged, because they did that on the BPL. I have a letter here dated August 2024 from North Florida Professional Services. On July 30th, 2024, the town of White Springs via Clay Sweeter at EDA Inc. issued a letter with review comments for the proposed subdivision final plat for Diamond subdivision. So the town administration was well aware that they should have called and consulted the town planner, Mr. Sweeter. So if y'all like to submit this letter as part of the record. In the 119 request, the town attorney, Clay Sweeter, EDA consultant, a firm used by the town for planning services, informed the town attorney that he was never contacted by the town regarding this matter, and he never received any information. So why would the town administration go to the trouble of consulting Clay Sweeter on a development over here, but yet they didn't think to consult Clay Sweeter on the zoning change where they knew what the application said was not consistent with the zoning. And I suspect there will be some further evidence submitted as a 119 request on that. To address the mobile homes in the area, this is not about mobile homes. This is about circulating the process outlined in our land development code. That is to organize development in a town so everyone knows what the rules are. And in 1998, when our land development code was adopted and signed by Mayor McClure, there's a section 4.2.13 that addresses mobile homes. Mobile home hyphen replacement of existing mobile homes. I won't read the whole thing, just the relevant parts. In those districts which do not permit the erection of new mobile homes, but do permit existing mobile homes for principal use, such existing mobile homes may be removed and replaced by another home provided that a period of not greater than 6 consecutive months elapses between the removal of one mobile home and the addition of another. Secondly, such mobile homes shall not be replaced and subsequent use shall conform to the regulations for the district in which the use is located. So the land development code was adopted not to perpetuate mobile homes, but to allow them to exist legally as long as they were there. This contemplates not adding any additional mobile homes in this zone. So like, this is in the land development code, section 4.2.13. In my case, it's in a gray binder. I don't know if everyone's got a copy of it, but I'd like to submit this in. Thanks. I'd like to address just a few of the gentleman's analysis report. I would like to say that the property to the south, the photograph that is in your work is the most photogenic piece I've ever seen that house look in probably 5 years. If you look today, it has old cars out front, motors, grease, oil, so this is a very photogenic photograph if you look at the package. I was thrilled with this. And there is a code enforcement magistrate order that property is accruing a $250 a fine, and it's subject to foreclosure. Item number 9, whether the proposed change will create a drainage problem. Well, I never saw a topographic survey submitted as part of the application package, so there's really no way that you can say emphatically that the 26 loads of dirt that were added will not cause a drainage problem to the neighbor. So there's no topographic survey before, and there's not one now. So we really don't know. We can't say for a fact what the drainage issues might be for them. Number 13, whether the proposed change will constitute a grant of special privilege to an individual owner as contrasted with public welfare. Yes, this is a case of asking forgiveness versus permission. Not anyone else in the town can walk in and put their structure in place and expect to be allowed to stay. This happened because we had an administration at the time when this permit was filed. It was all about circumventing the rules and accountability and transparency. That's why all of you are here today.
Coming up on 10 minutes.
There's no time. Whether it's impossible to find other adequate sites in the town for proposed uses and districts. There's sites all over town with abandoned mobile homes that should have been moved years ago. And this would not have been a burden on the applicant had she followed the process. That's all.
Brenenstall?
My name is Paul Brenenstall. I live at 10550 First Street. If you turn to page 57, you can see my house is the one on the bottom of the page there, directly across the street from the mobile home in question. And Mr. Gates was talking about mobile homes that are in disrepair. I'd like to challenge, I think there's more stick-built homes in this town that are in disrepair than there are mobile homes. And I walk past them every day on Mill Street and many other streets throughout this town. My opinion about this mobile home that's going in across the street from my house, it's an asset to me. It's an improvement to the neighborhood. When I found out about this meeting, I went on the website and I looked. 10 minutes ago, I was on the county website and I'm still looking. On this piece of paper here, it shows single family, it shows vacant residence, and it shows single family. Well, I'm not all that great with when it comes to some of this stuff, but I thought that's what a mobile home is, single family residence. Down here towards the bottom, it says existing RSF-2. I was on that website for hours. I never found a -2. So I don't see a qualification of -2 for a stick-built home on that land. It doesn't say mobile home, but it doesn't say stick-built home either. I have been paying attention a little bit. This is the first time I've addressed the city council. This city council, I want to thank you for your time. Okay? I've been approached by residents on both sides of this issue. I've only been here 5 years and 10 months, and I don't think I have the right to make an opinion about what I think and what I feel about White Street. I moved here because I like here, and I did not want to bring where I came from here, because this is the way I want to live. White Springs is just the way, just fine the way it is. Probably go past my house and see that little sign that says, "I heart White Springs."
Oh, there's you. Okay, that's Ms. Huggins.
But the sign got worn out, started looking worse than I do, so I had to take it down, and I haven't had time to make a new one. But I'd like to bring up to all parties involved, everybody, that in the recent time, I've watched 3 mobile homes placed and occupied in the town of White Springs. The first one is 16715 Bryant Street. Did those people have to go through this same process? Okay, the second one is 10389 Hendrick Street. Did those people have to go through this process of anything that you're talking about, any of the hoops that you're talking about? Is any of that stuff on file for those 2 mobile homes? And the third, located at 10663 Turner Street. That's 3 mobile homes. In the recent period of time, less than, I'd say 3 years, 4 years, that have all gone up, and I don't believe any of them that go through what these 3 people, these 3 groups are going through. All 3 people that are here requesting, I support every bit of what they're supporting, what they're asking for. I live directly across the street from that one. It's going to be an improvement to my life and my neighborhood. Regardless, I understand the paperwork has not been perfect. I believe that can be corrected. And I would really like to see that mobile home stay where it's at. Furthermore, if I was out of town in Texas and I was looking for a property and I go to the county website and I see single family residential, I didn't see that number 2 any place on that website qualified. It must be a stick-built home. So I believe when this whole thing went through with your land development stuff that went through, it wasn't updated to the county, because the county shows that land at 825, or I'm sorry, at 825-9-000 as single family. It's a vacant residence, single family. There's no -2 there. So if I was coming in from out of town buying property off the internet, I would have no clue to a requirement for a stick-built or a mobile home. I see vacant, resident, single family, I would think I would apply. And I would purchase the land and I would start the process, only to find out that there's a -2 that magically appears. It wasn't there on the county website. And I would have an issue. So I support it. And I'd like to see this mobile home get approved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, good. Captain Brennan, Brewer, please.
Yes, my name is Cathy Brewer. I live in White Springs, Florida.
You don't think you-
Can you also confirm that you're and your address?
10505 First Street, West Brenenstall, 3296.
Speak up again, say it again, but speak up a little bit loud, please.
It's Catherine Brewer, 10505 First Street, White Springs, Florida, 32096. Okay. My name is Catherine Brewer. I live in White Springs, Florida at 10505 First Street over 40 years. I welcome a new mobile home located at 10573 First Street. Okay, I work in Homes America / Home Builders for 30.5 years. And I know how to look them all through, just like for through. Okay. There are many mobile homes located in White Springs, and that area alone has located in White Springs. There are 3 mobile homes close next to the property on 10573. I can understand the concern with rezoning the home, but only if the home was abandoned. This is not the case.
Understand that you're in support of the home, correct?
Yeah, I'm so.
Thank you. George?
Yeah.
I don't wish to speak, but I support the change.
You can get a chance to rebut. Judith McClure?
No, I have described most of what I was going to say. Some of it I'm going to have to say. I disagree with Mr. Bryant. When you start putting trailers.
I'm sorry, can you give
Judith
us?
McClure, 16630 Spring Street.
I'm sorry, confirm that.
I have instructed. When the council allows people to just start putting trailers in and then getting rezoned later, I think that's unconscionable. We're also close to this road, and I know there are other trailers on that street, but it is zoned for the trailers right now, am I correct?
No, it's 5 trailers on the road.
But it is zoned, then why are we here?
It's currently zoned residential single family, so it's not zoned.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why we're here. Clearing the land and putting a mobile home on when you know that it's not zoned for that, it does impact the historic district. I read the letter that the citizens attorney sent to you all, and you didn't seem to even care about it. I read it very thoroughly, and there were some very good points in it. And I'm hoping that you all will take another look at it. The letter that all of you received from the attorney from the private citizen, that's Cathy. I believe you all received one. There were some very good things in there that need to be looked at. We all seem to come to the room and say, it doesn't deserve that, it doesn't attention to it. I'm going to have to describe most of it. If you check the packet, where it was checked that yes, it was zoned for mobile homes, they knew it was not. And I feel that that's deceptive. Warning, deceptive, we expect better from this council. We had it coming in. And I just expect more from this council. And the one point I was going to make, I probably just wanted to say I can say it. If someone robs a bank and they get caught, do they get to keep the money just because they went through all that work? No, they broke the law. And I would oppose it. Obviously, I cannot support it. I know there's other troubles. My main concern is the deception. Thank you.
Thank you. Thomas Brazil?
College Street. I am opposed to the rezoning, not because of the trailer, not because I'm opposed to it because of the process. Hamilton County's website, property appraiser on 710. The lot is wooded and vacant. The zoning is SF, single family. In the applicant's own letter, the applicant cleared the land, purchased and moved the mobile home, 28 loads of dirt, water and sewer connections, permitting cost and labor. They pay the sewer connection fee. How do we get connected to water and sewer without a certificate of occupancy? You gotta disagree with the planner here. 28 loads of fill, like Scott said, is definitely going to change the hydrology of that lot. That water's got to go somewhere. 28 loads of fill. We have a LiDAR report. We have an hydrology report. Where's the water going to go? It's going on somebody else's land. It's going to have to. It's not just going to sink into the ground. That's my opposition to this. This is the property appraiser's website. I'll put that in the record. I just think that we've got rules. We've got to follow rules. We don't reward bad behavior. If you don't follow rules, don't research it. The old saying, buyer beware. Check, double check. I bought numerous properties in my life. I always check the hydrology, the LiDAR, the zoning, the setbacks, what you can do with the property. That's what you do. That's how you do it. You don't try to slip it in and after you get it all done, oh, I want to change the zoning. That's not the way to do things. That's not proper. Now, I know y'all inherited this mess from the previous council. I get that. But this has been done very recently. Most of this has been done while y'all been on the council. So I just think that if it's a problem, you know, and you start changing this zone, what are you going to do for the next person that comes up, lives in a single family zone area, they want to put a trailer there? You know, you wind up like we used to have down in Keys where you have $1 million home, a trailer, $1 million home. You get into problems when you start making variances like that. If it's zoned that way, leave it that way. Just my point.
Did anybody submit a form to speak?
Well, I got sworn in, I'm not going out for him.
Well, I want to respond to Paul. He referenced 3 other trailers that have been installed. So the trailer on Kendrick Street, actually, Paul, is also an illegal trailer because someone at Town Hall signed off on a mobile home permit for that to be installed. That also shows as vacant land. So that trailer is there illegally, and all the work that's going on is illegal. Because
What
that
mobile
trailer,
home is that? I'm saying,
it's the one next to JoJo Green. I don't
that
know.
trailer's been up over 25 years, so
It's been
that was
there.
Holly Green's trailer first.
It's been there for 25 years, but it hasn't been occupied, it hasn't had power, so it's lost its ability, or by the 6-month rule. So the
No,
person,
that's not what it, correct me if I'm wrong, that 6-month rule said if you remove it, it didn't say that property couldn't be vacant. It said if it was removed for the one that you grandfathered
no, I
in.
think it also says occupied. But anyway, that thing should have been gone by, anyway, so that's it also for Mr. Garner. I think that's been brought to your attention already, that someone in town hall during our transition signed off on a permit application for that mobile home to have HVAC and electric. So that's why I wanted to respond to Paul. The other thing, in the single-family zoning, it describes prohibited structures and it says mobile home. So you have to read the whole code. There's also a definition section where it goes into mobile homes and campers. So that's all I can say.
Cory, Bryant. Name, address, and confirm that you're sworn.
My name is Cory Bryant, 21 Turner Street. Just to address the committee about, I was wondering. Just to address the committee about the structure, the property, everything. You have a creek right behind that property. You have a little runoff behind the property even before they even did anything to that property. The property, the only reason they elevated the dirt is because of the softness of the ground that was originally there. When the trees were there, it was like a marshland. It kept walking. But everybody around here talking about property seized that hadn't been followed, property seized that hadn't been followed. Who do you blame when a person goes and gets the permit from one county that says that you have to bring this information over here in order to receive it? When you get the permit, do you go back and blame that county for giving that permit? Or do you, how would that work? If she's saying she went to Jasper and she had to fill out all the paperwork in order even, before they even moved this structure, how did she get a passage from there? The communication gap between White Springs and Jasper and Hampton County, it seems like everybody doing their own thing. But now y'all are new council. Y'all get a chance to correct a lot of the things that's going on, but you shouldn't punish your community behind a mistake that somebody else didn't follow up because you think it's a favor, so you're going to be hell-bent on coming to tell, oh, I'm going to expose that. Those people are not here. Old things have passed away. It's time for us to develop a new system here. Only way the system going to get right is we start today. We can't keep going back saying, well, that's old, they should have been here, that's old. These people have, any of these people who have occupied these places that you're talking about, been involved in crime, been involved in polluting your community, throwing litter around. What are they contributing to this community? That's the question we need to stand on. Because it seems like everybody's so worried about legitimacy, everybody want to be legally this and legally that. But if your mom was out there, you'll put a tent out there for your mom to stay in there. If you ain't, she had nowhere to go, you wouldn't worry about who, what, when said something. So when we go to this, is all the procedures laid down that you go before you pull a permit, before you pull a, you check out a property. Where are they located? Everything is scattered out. So when I grab one piece, how am I gonna find locate them? I gotta be a researcher before I even be a common citizen. That's what my city hall is for. That's what my secretary is for. That's what my mayor for. That's what my governor. That for me to be able to call somebody and get direction, right? We have come, we stay poking. But when we gonna stop and correct the system? It ain't the individuals in here, it's the system. Correct the system. Stop going at the individuals and correct the system because we all here together. The majority of us is 1,800 to 1,900 of us in this whole county. And we around here trying to run somebody out who's bringing something adding to the county. We rather see woods, we rather see god doggone litter, we rather see trees falling on our house when these bad storms come around. Everybody want to be an expert builder, but you ain't building nothing. You let the trees, man, this is so high every time I walk by, it's a tree in the street because the people ain't pruning it. It ain't nobody to do it. So we need to embrace new people in this community. My family been here 160 years. Not me, my family. But what I'm saying, we got deep roots in this community. And every one of my family members here got generations after generations. We running the young people off. Who gonna be here for this place? If we keep y'all doggone treat them like we don't want them here, who gonna keep up these places when we get old and we can't ride that lawnmower? When we can't get old, we can't pick up that paper no more. When you get old and you can't get out of bed and you want somebody to go get your groceries, these young people gonna be the ones to support us. So we gotta build the proper situation. That's all I got to say, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Mr. Bryant.
Applicant, do you have any rebuttal evidence to submit, or would you like to make a closing statement?
I just need to address the fact that the application, I want to address the fact that the application was submitted in full. Every page was submitted. Hamilton County, not one sheet of paper. And nothing was underhandedly done. No one tried to fraud anyone. Me, I work at Town Hall. Why would I try to fraud Town Hall? I really would like to know that. No, it was not underhandedly done. If I felt like I was underhandedly doing something, I would have had the previous administration rezone it before I even started. That's something you need to think about. If I felt like that, or if I knew that, I definitely would have rezoned it before I even started the process.
Great. Do board members have any additional questions for the applicant?
I don't have a question per se, but I do have some comments. Okay, that'll be fine.
Mr. Garrett, do you have any rebuttal evidence to submit, or would you like to make a closing statement?
I think it's appropriate for me to provide, but I'd like to clarify. As far as the issue coming up with the flood property, I think that you got to look at there is a FEMA maps, and that's what we look at, not topographic maps or another thing, but it's a FEMA maps that are reviewed by the town to show the first flood. The building up, the permit law says that you're not supposed to be, you're supposed to keep the water underground. Any drainage road needs to be kept. So that's required. We don't know at this point whether that's a fact. As far as the site plan approval, I was just looking at the LDRs. And even though they don't generally, they don't specifically say that I can find. I don't think that residential uses are generally applicable to site development. That's sort of commercial uses in that design. And as far as the layout on the building permit form, that's something that should have been setbacks as well. That's fine. Building inspector should be looking at those setbacks to make sure they're maintained and increased with code. So it's really, some of these things are germane to property, but not germane to the
does the board then, does the board have any questions, Mr. Garrett?
On behalf of the board, I do have a couple of questions for you for clarification. Sorry. When looking at evaluating it for rezoning, you're evaluating the property as it was, not as it had been improved afterwards?
That's correct. That's what I was trying to get at. I don't know if I was clear.
I wanted to make sure. The other thing is that there have been applications talked about, but there's more than one application that I think is being talked about. I think that needs to be clarified. The one with the setbacks, that's the permit for the mobile
It's a
home.
permit, right. And that's not germane to the rezoning.
Correct.
That was my point.
We have concluded the public portion of the hearing for rezoning application RZ 2025-03 and ordinance 25-03. Board members who have heard the evidence presented at this hearing along with the findings of staff, is there a motion for consideration?
I will get the approval for, zoning, 2025-03.
It has been moved that we approve resolution ordinance number 25-03. Do we have a second? It's been motioned and seconded that we approve ordinance 25-03. It's open this for discussion. Is there any discussion?
You read it. You read it.
That's the first reading.
So it's not
As far as legalities go, and I adore Cynethia, I think she's putting in an absolutely gorgeous home. I think it'll be an asset to the community. My questions are to precedent. If these things were not done, and if can we make an adjustment or an addendum, or I don't know how it works, to say that going forward, these are the procedures that have to be done. I mean, it's just, there were so many corners cut, and I don't think Cynethia did it. I think she's a victim of the prior council that has so many worlds. However, again, I'm afraid of setting precedent. Okay, let's ask for forgiveness rather than permission. Can you address that?
So, a couple things that are involved here. The town completed the paperwork, and then the county approved the paperwork. The errors that occurred are in the government policies and procedures. So the town's policies and procedures need to change, probably the county's policies and procedures need to change. I think we also heard that the wrong designation for zoning was put on multiple applications. And so it sounds like that was a systemic issue with the town and not necessarily an individual situation, at least from what has been put forward this evening. We can ask the town to provide all permits that they've received from the county over the last couple of years. That is one way to do it. But that's a systemic issue that as a council and as a planning and zoning board and everything that you're doing to put in new policies and procedures, that can be addressed. And then at the same time, the comprehensive, what do you call your committee? Plan committee, will be looking at the different zoning and that's gonna be something else at some point that the town is gonna have to do is probably determine what the actual use is for a lot of property development.
appear to maybe what it wasn't intended for. There might be a more widespread problem than what we know until we find out. And then how you deal with that is how you deal with it. But for purposes of today, you have a rezoning application. And we have to decide on that, but as a council, you do have the ability to make sure that you put in the right policies and procedures.
During this,
Not as part of this. This is a quasi-judicial matter, and what you're talking about is more legislative. And so that would be within your legislative duties. Set up proper procedures, make sure that the information gets out to the public.
how would this not unprecedented?
Because the people who were, once a town makes a mistake, it doesn't mean the town has to keep making that same mistake for everybody.
But won't the next person come out and say, oh,
So
well,
if somebody comes to the town hall and says, here's my building permit, sign this for me, and it's all wrong, and it's messed up, and we sign it and take it off to the county, we made a huge mistake. And if he takes that representation and he does something with it, we keep making that mistake, then there's something wrong with us, we're not doing our jobs correctly. So this is kind of a black swan event, issue that happened in this particular instance.
if you're thinking it's a runoff, and like the one on Hendrick,
It may not be a one-off.
Might not
That's
be.
not what we're saying.
We have to
yeah,
figure
but
that
so
out.
how do we protect ourselves against future going, look, you did it once?
Well, because anything that happens with those other properties, you're still gonna have to evaluate it according to the standards that are in the LDR. Your recommendation today is not based on, well, it's already done. You're supposed to be basing your decision and your vote and your recommendation on those 16 factors.
Just
Those 16. There's really nothing else in the LDRs that talks about how the application was completed and whether it was completed correctly. It's the only thing that's listed here are those 16 factors.
And like number 16, where it talks finding another place, it's because she's already made the,
No, I don't think that was the finding. I don't think that was the finding.
No, he said it's real
unnecessary
burden.
Oh, well, that's one factor that is there. But there's 16 factors. You don't have to have all 16 that meet. You have to have, looking at what a reasonable person will look at the evidence that's been presented and making your determination. Now, there's something to be said for what Robert said about the town and the county approving the permit and then a person acting on that to make it, expenditures, and then penalizing them for stupidly relying on
that's what
government.
we're doing to the Hutchinsons now,
That happened to them as well, right?
that they're having to pay it. They're having to.
They do pay it too.
All have to pay $1,000
Yeah.
per party.
Yeah.
But they were relying on more information, and so they were penalized. And she relied on wrong information.
And she would come up.
They're all here under the same, they're here for the same reasons. They took some information that was provided to them by the town, and they acted on it, and then they found out that information wasn't correct, and here we are.
And on these, I have a couple of uncertainties. How many uncertainties makes it before you vote?
I can't answer that for you. There's no magic number.
Basically, gave us the findings for each point.
Right. And there's some that I just had so many questions about. Most I did not. Most, I think it's an absolutely gorgeous home. I think it'll be an asset to the neighborhood and stuff. It's just the circumstances that are killing me.
That's not what we're here to do. We're here to make
The
a
legal,
decision based on the
these
zoning.
circumstances, these findings, and that's what I'm having trouble
Oh,
making it
with
black and
the-
white.
With Mr. Garrett's findings?
Yeah, the staff findings. So just, well,
I can't tell you.
Can I? Because this is the first time I've seen this. And with my questions, do I have to fill this out tonight and turn it in?
You need to turn it in tonight, but remember, this is the first hearing. So this is only about making a recommendation, and then there will be a second hearing in 2 weeks. And so,
Then I can get my answers clarified. And that's
So
fine.
if you get new information, you get your answers, you decide the issue or whatever, you can change.
right.
So I can mark recommendation with conditions and not basically what I'm talking about.
Well, there's a motion on the table, so it would be, yeah, there was a motion. So it would be whether you vote yea or nay on the motion as presented.
And it was yes or no on the.
Whether, so the motion was to approve,
It just was on motion and second, it has not been approved yet.
oh, but the motion was to approve the
So, approve the
application.
record, yes.
The application is what I have questions on.
If you don't have enough information to make that vote, then you're not bound. You have to make
We
a
still
decision.
have a majority.
I don't know. Until they vote, I don't know. But this is only the first hearing, and then there is a second hearing in 2 weeks. So there's time for you to get additional answers if you need them. If you're not comfortable making the vote one way or the other, you do have to vote.
Yeah.
But how you
But
vote
if I
is up
vote
to
no
you.
today, it doesn't mean forever and ever again.
Correct.
No.
Is there any more discussion?
Yes. I have a few things. First, I